Good morning. It's September 25th, 2025, and welcome to the Breakfast Rundown with me, Zulfick Farzan. Today, we are going to start this morning's program with comments made by Sri Lanka's President Anura Kumara Dissanayake all the way in New York at the 80th General Assembly of the United Nations. Now, Sri Lankan President Anura Kumara Dissanayake described corruption as a global epidemic that threatens development, democracy and human dignity. Addressing world leaders and delegates at the United Nations General Assembly in New York, President Dissanayake stated that corruption is not just a national issue but a global crisis, obstructing progress and deepening poverty across societies.
ගරු සභාපතිතුමනි, ගෞරවනීය අමුත්තනි, දූෂණය සමාජයේ පුළුල් පරාසයක විනාශයට සහ ඛේදවාචකයට හේතු වන දොහොයි වසංගතයක් විදිහට අපි විශ්වාස කරනවා. දූෂණය සංවර්ධනයට බාධාවක්, ප්‍රජාතන්ත්‍රවාදය සහ ලෝකයේ යහපැවැත්මට තීරණාත්මක තර්ජනයක් සහ දුප්පත්කමට හේතුවක් වන බව අපේ ස්ථාවර වෙනවා. දූෂණයට එරෙහි සටන භයානකයි. නමුත් දූෂණයට එරෙහි සටන් නොකර සිටීම ඊටත් වඩා භයානකයි යන්න මම ඔබට ඉතාමත් ගෞරවයෙන් සිහිපත් කරනවා. 1948 දී මානව හිමිකම් පිළිබඳ විශ්ව ප්‍රකාශනය ලෝකයේ මිනිස් ප්‍රජාවට විශාල ජයග්‍රහණයක් ගෙනාවා. මානව ශිෂ්ටාචාරයේ විවිධ ජයග්‍රහණයන් එක්රැයකින් ලැබීනේ ඒ සියල්ල අප්‍රමාණ කැපකිරීම සහ නොපසුබට උත්සාහයේ ප්‍රතිඵල. දූෂණයට එරෙහි සටනත් අසිරු පියවරක්, එහෙත් අපි මේ පියවර තැබිය යුතුයි. අප තබන පළමු පියවර අසිරු විය හැකියි. නමුත් අප නිර්භීතව තබන පියවර නිවැරදි නම් ඒ පියවර පිටුපස තවත් පියවර දහස් ගණනක් අප සමග ඒවියයි මා විශ්වාස කරනවා. ගරු සභාපතිතුමනි, නියෝජිතවරුනි, නිර්භීත වන්න. ඉතුරු සියල්ල ඉබේම වේයයි ජවහර්ලාල් නේරුතුමන් කළ ප්‍රකාශය මේ මොහොතේ මා සිහිපත් කරනවා. මම නියෝජනය කරන්නේ මිලියන 22කට ආසන්න ජනගහනයක් ජීවත් වන පුංචි දීප්තිමත් දූපතක්. ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ ජනගහනය ආසන්න වශයෙන් මුළු ලෝක ජනගහනයෙන් 0.3ක් පමණ වෙනවා. අපේ රටේ වගේම රටේ සිටින ජන සංඛ්‍යාව ප්‍රමාණාත්මක සහ සංඛ්‍යාත්මක කුඩා බව ඇත්ත. නමුත් අපේ රටේත් ලෝකෙත් මතු පරපුර වෙනුවෙන් දූෂණයට එරෙහි සටන අපි ආරම්භ කර තිබෙනවා. දූෂණයට එරෙහි සටන සෑම රටකම සංස්කෘතියේ කොටසක් විය යුතුයි කියා මා යෝජනා කරනවා.
Now, the President has also called for urgent global cooperation to combat the escalating threat of drug trafficking and organized crime. He warned that drug cartels are no longer confined to borders but are turning entire states into their hunting grounds, posing a grave threat to global health, politics and overall well-being.
ගරු සභාපතිතුමනි, ගෞරවනීය අමුත්තනි, මේ අසිරිමත් ග්‍රහලෝකයේ අස්ථාවරත්වයටත් ව්‍යාකූලත්වයටත් පත්වන නවතම ගැටලුවක් ලෙස මත්ද්‍රව්‍ය හා ඒ හා බැඳුණු සංවිධානාත්මක අපරාධ කණ්ඩායම් හඳුනා ගන්නට පුළුවන්කම තිබෙනවා. ඒ බව එක්සත් ජාතීන්ගේ මත්ද්‍රව්‍ය අපරාධ පිළිබඳ කාර්යාලය 2025 ලෝක මත්ද්‍රව්‍ය වාර්තාවේ පවා තහවුරු කොට තිබෙනවා. ගෝලීය මත්ද්‍රව්‍ය ගැටලුව ලෝක පුරා මිලියන සංඛ්‍යාත ජනතාවට බලපාන සංකීර්ණ අභියෝගයක් වී තිබෙනවා. දිනෙන් දින මත්කුඩු සහ ඒ ආශ්‍රිත නිෂ්පාදන ගෝලීය වෙළඳපොළ වාර්තාගත ලෙස ආක්‍රමණය කොට තිබෙනවා. මත්ද්‍රව්‍ය වෙළඳාම සහ ඒ හරහාම ක්‍රියාත්මක සංවිධානාත්මක අපරාධ ලෝක අර්බුද රැසකට මාර්ගය විවෘත කොට තිබෙනවා. මේවාට සම්බන්ධ කණ්ඩායම් රාජ්‍යයන් ගොදුරු බිම් බවට පත් කරමින් සිටිනවා. මේ ව්‍යසනය ලෝක සෞඛ්‍යයට, ලෝක ප්‍රජාතන්ත්‍රවාදයට, ලෝක දේශපාලනයට සේම අවසන් වශයෙන් ලෝකයේ යහ පැවැත්මට එරෙහි මහා ප්‍රවාහයක් බවට පත් වී තිබෙනවා. මේමා ව්‍යසනයේ තුරන් කිරීම වෙනුවෙන් ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ අප සාධනීය වැඩපිළිවෙලක් ක්‍රියාත්මක කරමින් සිටින අතර මේ උවදුර පිටු දැකීමේ ලෝක න්‍යාය පත්‍රය සක්‍රිය කිරීමට මා ඔබට ගෞරවයෙන් ආරාධනා කරනවා. මේ ජාවාරම්කරුවන්ට එරෙහිව නීතිය තදින් ක්‍රියාත්මක කිරීම, එවැනි ජාවාරම්කරුවන්ට තම තමන්ගේ රටවල් වලට සංක්‍රමණය වීමේ ඉඩ ප්‍රස්ථා අවුරුවාලීම, මේවට ඇබ්බැහි වූවන් පුනරුත්ථාපනය කරනු ලබන මධ්‍යස්ථාන බිහි කිරීම වැනි කරුණු මෙහි මොහොතේ මම ඔබගේ අවධානයට යොමු කරනවා.
Now, President Anura Kumara Dissanayake is currently in the United States to attend the 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly. Now, he held bilateral discussions with Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif at the permanent mission of Sri Lanka to the United Nations in New York. Now, President Dissanayake had warmly welcomed Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif. The two leaders engaged in discussions focused on further strengthening the long-standing friendship between Sri Lanka and Pakistan and enhancing cooperation across multiple sectors. Now, President Anura Kumara Dissanayake also held bilateral discussions with Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese at the permanent mission of Sri Lanka to the United Nations in New York on the sidelines of the 80th session of the UNGA. President Dissanayake again warmly welcomed the Prime Minister before the two leaders engaged in discussions aimed at further expanding economic and trade cooperation and strengthening bilateral relations. Now, particular emphasis was placed on promoting tourism as well as exploring new investment and market opportunities. Now, bilateral talks between President Anura Kumara Dissanayake and Portuguese President Marcelo Rebelo de Sousa, both attending the 80th session of the UNGA, were held at the permanent mission of Sri Lanka in New York. President Dissanayake warmly welcomed President Rebelo de Sousa, and following a cordial exchange, the two leaders engaged in discussions. Now, according to the President's media division, special attention was given to enhancing trade and tourism relations between Sri Lanka and Portugal. Now, here's something important for motorists. Sri Lanka police announced a crackdown on unauthorized items displayed on vehicle windshields, emphasizing that only the revenue license should be visible on the front glass. According to the traffic division, the revenue license must be displayed on the lower left corner of the windshield, clearly visible to law enforcement officers. Any other stickers, decorations or documents placed on the windshield will be considered a traffic violation. Authorities are also paying special attention to windshield tinting, stating that the level of darkness must not exceed 1/5 of the glass, that's 20%. Excessively tinted windshields can obstruct visibility and pose safety risk, prompting stricter enforcement. In addition, Sri Lanka police will be focusing on seat belt compliance as well, particularly ensuring that drivers are wearing seat belts at all times while operating a vehicle. Now, into a tragic incident all the way from Malsiripura, a devastating accident at the Malsiripura Na Oyana Forest Monastery in Kuhunagala has claimed the lives of 7 Buddhist monks, including 3 foreign nationals, after a cable cart used to access hillside meditation huts collapsed. The incident occurred last night when 13 monks were traveling in the cable cart to their respective meditation cells located in the hilly terrain of the monastery. The cart, which had been in use for several years to ease travel across the steep landscape, suddenly gave way, plunging the monks to the ground. Police confirmed that 6 monks were injured and 2 in critical condition, currently receiving treatment at the Kurunagala Teaching Hospital and Polpitigama Hospital. Among the deceased are monks from India, Russia and Romania who had been residing at the monastery for spiritual practice. Now, this is according to the Pansiagama police. Local residents and police personnel rushed to the scene to assist in rescue efforts, transporting the injured monks to nearby hospitals. The cause of the cable cart failure is under investigation. Now, 3 individuals have been remanded until September 29th in connection with the discovery of 3 deceased persons and a large cache of narcotics at a residence in the Sinimodra area of Tangol. Now, the suspects were presented before the Tangol magistrate last night following their arrest in relation to the incident. Among those remanded is the relative of one of the deceased, who was identified as Tusita Venukumara, the owner of a small lorry found with 10 packets of crystal meth, commonly known as ice, and the registered owner of another lorry seized with heroin and ice. Police have confirmed that 6 individuals have been taken into custody so far as investigations continue. Now, the bodies of the 3 deceased men were discovered under suspicious circumstances at the residence, prompting authorities to send the remains to the government analyst for forensic examination. Preliminary post-mortem reports conducted by Judicial Medical Officer Dr. Ruan Nanayakara at the Tangol Base Hospital revealed traces of multiple narcotic substances in their systems. The initial discovery was made on the morning of September 22nd, when police responded to a tip-off and found 2 bodies at the house. A third individual died shortly after being admitted to the Tangawal hospital. Now, subsequent investigations led to the seizure of over 700 kilograms of heroin and crystal meth, valued at approximately 10 billion Sri Lankan rupees, hidden in 3 lorries. Authorities believe the narcotics were smuggled into the country via 2 boats that landed on the Kudawalla and Marwella shores on the 21st of September. Police sources indicate that the drug consignment is linked to a notorious international criminal network allegedly operated by fugitive named Unakuru Shanta, who is believed to be hiding overseas. Now, a high-stakes intelligence-led operation in the Kandaliyadda area of Ganemulla has led to the discovery of a significant cache of narcotics, cash and suspicious items, including police uniforms, raising serious concerns about criminal infiltration. Acting on a tip-off received by the Gampaha Division Intelligence Unit, Ganemulla Police raided residence where they discovered approximately 800 grams of heroin and 1.5 kilograms of crystal meth or ice hidden inside the house. Now, in addition to the drugs, police seized 460,000 rupees in cash, 24 national identity cards and 3 driver's licenses, all of which are now in police custody. Now, shockingly, officers also found 2 official police uniforms and a police sports outfit inside the premises. Authorities suspect that the homeowner, who is known in the area as a supplier of construction materials, may have been using this cover to operate a drug trafficking network. The man fled the scene during the raid, evading arrest. However, police confirmed that his wife and another individual were taken into custody on suspicion of aiding and abetting the operation. Now, a 47-year-old employee attached to the Buralla office of the Colombo Municipal Council has been arrested by the Walana Central Anti-Corruption Strike Force in connection with an alleged drug trafficking operation. Police revealed that the suspect, a resident of Sivali Mawata, Buralla, had been packaging and distributing crystal methamphetamine from a back office near Campbell Park. Investigators say the suspect was receiving narcotics from organized criminal networks. Authorities recovered over 20 grams of crystal meth from the suspect at the time of the arrest. He is currently being interrogated under a detention order. Now, Sri Lanka Police introduced dedicated hotline numbers for each province, allowing the public to confidentially report drug-related activities. This initiative is aimed at strengthening community involvement in the fight against drugs and to ensure swift action by law enforcement. Now, according to police, only authorized senior deputy inspector generals will receive and act upon the information that they receive. Now, the public is assured that all reports will be treated with strict confidentiality. Now, let's move on to some international news. A Spanish naval vessel will join the global Smooth Flotilla for Gaza to provide assistance and, if necessary, conduct rescues, Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez has said. Italy earlier announced it was dispatching a frigate after a night of drone attacks on the humanitarian flotilla opposed by the Israeli government. Volunteers from the Global Smooth Flotilla, an organization trying to get aid into the besieged enclave using ships setting sail from ports across the Mediterranean, say that some of their vessels were targeted by drones. The organization claimed the attacks are part of a sustained Israeli campaign of intimidation. Now, Taiwan's fire department revised down to 14 the death toll from a typhoon this week on its remote east coast, but said 33 people were still unaccounted for. Now, the deaths happened after Super Typhoon Ragasa's outer bands brought heavy rains to Taiwan's Hualien County, causing a barrier lake in the mountains to overflow and unleash a wall of water onto the small town of Gangfu. Up next is sports news. Now, India has stormed into the final of the 2025 Asia Cup T20 after a commanding 41-run win over Bangladesh in the Super 4 stage. The match, held in Dubai, began at 8 p.m. Sri Lankan time and saw India deliver a well-rounded performance with both bat and ball. Winning the toss, Bangladesh opted to bowl first. India's innings was anchored by a solid opening partnership between Shubman Gill and Abhishek Sharma, who put on 77 runs for the first wicket. India posted a competitive total of 168 runs for 6 in their 20 overs. Bangladesh's chase faltered early with Tanzid Hassan dismissed for 1 run. Despite a valiant effort from Zulfick Farzan, who scored 69, the rest of the batting lineup collapsed. 9 players failed to cross the 7-run mark. India's bowlers kept the pressure on, with Kuldeep Yadav claiming 2 wickets. Bangladesh was bowled out for 127 in 19.3 overs, falling well short of the 169-run target. With this win, India have now won both of its Super 4 matches and officially qualified for the Asia Cup final. Meanwhile, Sri Lanka, currently at the bottom of the points table, have been eliminated from contention. Now, all these matches will be broadcast live on TV1 and streamed on sirasatv.lk. And with that, we wrap up this morning's edition of the Breakfast Rundown with me, Zulfick Farzan. I'll meet you again tomorrow morning with more stories. Until then, take care and stay safe.